So Ari, you like Kat were on my stream just a couple days ago, and I want to
Oh,
jump
yeah.
into this topic of I guess I feel like all week Twitter has been talking about, well, really, it's been going on much longer than a week, but Twitter has been talking about the Steven Crowder, his show drama, his divorce drama, and now this guy, I guess Jared, who used to be on the show, has now jumped into the drama. Um, I go back and forth on like whether or not I care, but Ari, you have an interesting perspective because you have a specific experience in dealing with in talent contracts and this whole like kind of like business, the whole world. Um, so I
Well,
wanted to get your sort of take on it, or if you want to set up the subject matter, and we'll all kind of take turns giving our take.
so like for just for fun, I thought it would be cool to do like a little stream about how a contract deal happened. So like let's say Chrissy, you don't want to be independent anymore and you were gunning for like, the Daily Wire or Barstool Sports or any network that's independent, like an independent digital network to fund you, which when people do that they can go one of two ways. A big company like that, big media company, they can either find somebody that's a smaller talent that they see, oh, okay, this person has a possibility and we're going to invest in them. That's what they did. Have you
You
guys
mean
ever
like
seen
Lila because she's smaller, or do you mean like
yeah, like someone, well, it could be someone small. No, somebody that doesn't have a huge, well,
their
maybe like
height
a huge
requirement?
audience yet. I don't know.
Mm.
No, there's never a height requirement. I feel like I'm not much taller than Lila. So
Yes, we're the same size.
yeah, we're basically the same size.
We're
Uh,
twins.
exactly. That's why I'm little Miss Jacob.
Yeah.
What if
Oh,
I was like actually super tall and large and my name was just very misleading?
That would be awesome.
Anyway, or
that'd be
they
great.
can basically make an offer to like a Steven Crowder. Well, Steven Crowder last year got a big offer from the Daily Wire because he has a membership thing called Mug Club, and I think he has a bunch of members. So they Daily Wire made a $50 million offer to him in January, and then what's kind of wild is like 3 months after that, there was a ring cam footage that leaked of basically him being pretty jerky to his wife, kind of like narcissist type of behavior. But that's all we see is this little clip. And the little clip was, I remember I made a mental note of it because the person that leaked the video is this guy, Yashar Ali. And Yashar Ali got like evicted from Kathy Griffin's house. He owes the Getty family like a bunch of money. So he's like this left wing grifter. He worked for the Hilary campaign and he's super shady, I think, in my opinion. And he's also represented by a huge talent agency called UTA. Anyway, so I kept note of it or whatever. And then I did a thing on Monday about just how contracts work. And then on Tuesday, I saw that this guy, Jared, had released a video saying that he was like basically, abused under his employment with Steven Crowder. And so I was like, wow, it's kind of ironic that Crowder was saying, don't go sign with Daily Wire because they have terrible contracts. And now his employees saying that he has terrible contracts. So immediately I took the side of Jared and I kind of moved on with my day. But then some of the people from Steven Crowder's camp were like, no, you have this all wrong. This was like a hit job against Crowder and it was orchestrated, in tune with his ex-wife. And I didn't really want to get into the divorce stuff. But then he said, well, and this, we're suing Brian Friedman, the lawyer. And I'm like, wait, Brian Friedman? That's the guy that when I sued UTA, represented UTA, the talent agency, because my clients left me and went to UTA because when Taylor Lorenz wrote a hit piece about me, my clients went to UTA, the same agency that represents her. So anyway, I saw you're seeing all these similar things. And then I went back and watched a video and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is like totally grifting. He raised like, I think 100 grand or 80, 90 grand on his GoFundMe in a day. And he was basically playing the victim as a disgruntled
so
employee.
who was Jared to Crowder?
So Jared started, I want to say in like 2014, and he left in 2018. And he was a nobody when he started in terms of like a creator. He was his producer that went by Not Gay Jared.
Okay.
And he was just like, a producer. And then he quit. And then in his video, he's basically, so this is why I know it's a grift. And it's like, it's not even a question to me, is because in the first half of the video, he says that he left voluntarily. And ever since he left in 2018, he was bullied. He was legally abused, is the word he used. And he said that he was forced to sign an NDA, but really he wasn't forced because he said he had a lawyer there when he signed it. An NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. It basically just means you're not going to disclose information about a company. So I've signed dozens of these agreements. So when I represent a talent, if I do a deal with L'Oreal, I have to sign a deal with L'Oreal that I'm not going to talk, which is in part why when Taylor Lorenz came after me and she was like, hey, did you pay the influencers on time? I wanted to show all my receipts that I had paid them on time. The problem was my lawyer was like, if you show all these receipts that you're under NDA with all these brands, those brands can turn around and sue you if Lorenz prints that. So I abided by my NDAs. You want to do that because if it is a bigger company, then they're going to, if you make them look bad, they're going to come after you. I mean, that's just common sense. So anyway, Jared complains that he was under an NDA. And then additionally, that the NDA had a 2-year non-solicitation clause. So basically what that means is, Chrissy, so let's say I went to go work for you, right? And I had no really followers or whatever. Yeah, okay. I'm working for you. And I'm meeting all these people through you. I don't know, anybody on the stream, and you're inviting me to your content houses, and I'm making all these relationships. Well, how would you feel if, I end up, maybe I get a better opportunity. Maybe one of your competitors finds out that I'm not super happy with you because, you're like kind of super mean sometimes. Like, you like say mean things to me or something, I don't know. And so they get, yeah. And they get wind that, there's turmoil maybe like inside your, organization. And so they get to me, let's just say, I'm just speculating. And then, let's say you're having some type of turmoil. So in Crowder's case, he's about to have a divorce. So what I think happened is perhaps some of Crowder's enemies found out that he was having a nasty divorce, and somebody got a hold of Jared and said, hey, Jared, are you happy over there? Well, aren't they super mean to you over there? And then he's like, well, I don't know. Well, I guess. And think about this too. Jared he watched in 2023, Crowder get a $50 million offer from Daily Wire, and he basically spit in their face, right? He said, I don't want this. This is crap. Like, he got an offer.
And we're all like, yeah, I would like $50 million. That seems like it would be fine.
I'll take that money for you.
It's very easy to hate somebody that is like is being that glib or that arrogant about something. So let's just say there's people in Crowder's company that are like, yeah, I don't think that, based on how he treats me, like he doesn't deserve a $50 million deal. Well, they may think that
this rumor that Crowder doesn't treat his employees well.
Well, Jared did. So 3 months after, if I'm getting my timing correct, after the Daily Wire made the $50 million offer and Crowder spit in their face. And then I can only imagine if I was Jeremy Boring, who's a partner at Daily Wire, I would be freaking pissed because you have to realize he's sharing trade secrets. He's sharing like how the offers go down. I mean, this is private information that, is really Daily Wire's intellectual property. And so in order to combat what Crowder said, Jeremy had to go into like an hour-long thing going through their contracts. So basically it exposed both of them and their business. So if I were Jeremy, I would be mad. But, I'm not saying Daily Wire is his only enemy. I don't even watch his content, but I can assume based off of other people's explanation that he's kind of arrogant and he's not everybody's cup of tea, right? But whatever. So have it. That is the internet. I mean, Alex Stein, I love him. Some people don't, you know what I mean?
True. A lot of people dislike me. A lot of people hate Lila. I'm just kidding. Nobody hates Lila.
I know. I was like, I'm
Some
sure you hate
people.
Lila. But basically, and they leaked, the video was pretty bad that they leaked. It just made him look like a total jerk off, right? But it's a little window into somebody's life. Like, you have to take it for a grain of salt, right? So, and the person that's leaking it is literally the biggest scumbag, in my opinion, on earth. So anyway, so 3 months after that, then people start leaking stuff to, like, I think the New York Post, saying that, like, Crowder exposed himself to a male coworker, and then that he was really mean to them, or he wasn't taking care of them, whatever. I don't really know that. I didn't
out that kind of thing.
They said that they saw his penis. I don't know. So that can go two ways
That's
too.
just a typical, that happens during the course of a work day, does it not?
Well, what if they were in a locker room and he was changing? You could be in a women's locker room. You could be changing, and I could be like, Chrissie exposed herself when I stayed with her at Turning Point USA.
True.
We stayed in the same room, and she exposed herself to me. I saw all the bits, like,
Yes, I've shown
I'm
everyone.
not saying that happened, but I am saying that you can twist words very easily, And I know this because what was alleged against me is that I leaked my clients' nudes for revenge when they left. So anyway, it looks bad and all this stuff, but then I start looking into this video, and here's where I'll put a pin in it so that you guys can tell me what you think. But basically, half the video, Jared talks about how he's been legally abused by Crowder because Crowder enforced his non-disparagement agreement, non-disclosure, and a non-circumvent. Oh, so in that scenario where I worked for you, so I get disgruntled, and then I basically go to everyone in the stream, and I start telling Lila, oh my gosh, Chrissie's so crazy. She exposed herself to me. Like, you shouldn't do her stream anymore. I don't think she's a good person. And then all of a sudden, all your friends, maybe they start trickling off, or notice something's going on. You lose members. Who knows? You're losing money now at this point because I'm going around bad mouthing you. But let's say you had an NDA with me. In my opinion, it's very fair to say, you know what, Ari, you're doing things that are not right and you're destroying my business. So I'm going to go ahead and send you a cease and desist. A cease and desist is basically a letter that says, cut it out. I don't want to sue you. We ain't got time for this, but, like, you need to stop. And I'm serious about this, because if you keep it on, then I'm going to actually, take this to court. Exactly.
So that's yeah.
So he gets, I think he got 2 cease and desist or something. And then they filed. So in Texas, I guess, before you file a lawsuit for this type of thing, you can actually file a motion in court where you ask the judge, hey, I'm pretty sure that Chrissie did this stuff. Or, I mean, you're filing. I'm pretty sure Ari talked bad about me, but I'm not 100% sure. So then the judge can give you an order, can say, okay, well, I'm going to give you basically some sort of discovery. And discovery just basically means you're showing the receipts to the court to where you can find out. So usually what happens, whether you're the plaintiff or the defendant, so whether you're filing a case against someone or you're defending yourself, both sides in court, if the judge allows it, have to provide discovery, which means any type of text message that says, my name and your name, like, I would have to give that up to you. That is just the way the law works. So in half of the video where Jared is asking for money because of this unfair treatment, he spends the time explaining that I'm not allowed to talk to my friends, and I'm not allowed to, and because of Crowder's legal abuse, I have to turn over all my communications with my friends. This is a breach of my privacy. I would have to sit in a room and get interrogated by their lawyers for an unlimited amount of time. And it's like, I'm listening to this now with, like, understanding of what he's trying to do. And I'm like, oh, so you mean you have to take a deposition? A deposition is, like, very normal. It's not an interrogation for unlimited. He made it sound like he's not going to have any water and they're going to, like, waterboard the guy, for like 48 hours. Yeah. No, yeah. This is just whatever. So he spends the whole time complaining about the legal process. Okay. So saying that because Crowder has more money, then he's, antagonizing him, and he's broke, so he doesn't have any money to fight back. And he's saying this is like very abusive, whatever. But then in the second half of the video, he says, well, I signed an unconstitutional NDA, and I'm going to file with the money that you give me. I'm going to file a lawsuit against Steven Crowder so that I can get free of this unconstitutional NDA. So what does that tell you?
Wow.
If he's going to file a lawsuit against Crowder, what does he have to do? He has to provide discovery, which he already said that the judge said he had to do, and he did not comply with. In the United States, if you cannot really get an attorney to represent you if you will not comply with discovery, because the lawyers can get in big trouble. So like when I sued Taylor Lorenz, remember I told you I can't even be an open it's very hard to be a content creator when you're like have to kind of watch what you say. So I can understand that he feels like pressure. But here's the thing. Guess who Jared's friends that he's doesn't want to give up the text messages with are? It's Crowder's wife. Is his friend. So ex-wife. So that's who he's been texting with. He's been texting with Jeremy Boring. He doesn't want to release that communication. Why? Maybe because they planned to take Crowder down. It could be, maybe not. But if you have the truth on your side, typically you're going to release all the texts and information. So anyway, it's kind of funny because I spoke out about it, not really just based on the principle that I don't care if Steven Crowder is a jerk. It's not right. I mean, look at how conservatives are. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you get to go into CVS and steal all the freaking razor blades or whatever, whatever people are stealing, and then walk right out.
Black. Yeah.
But right? We're not allowed to do that. But then you could have a low-level employee that's mad because he's not, as big as Steven Crowder, and have them basically disparage you on the way out, which is basically exactly what happened to me. Is that I had influencers that I was managing. They didn't think it was fair that, I don't know. I don't really know what Taylor said to them or whatever, but I distinctly remember one time when I was on Stuart Varney because a friend of mine got me on, and the influencers were like jealous that I was on TV and not them. And they were like, why are you on TV? And like, because I've been building this business for 13 years of my life or more. So why are you mad that I got 2 seconds of attention? And sometimes if you have an employee that feels as though they are, there's many reasons why somebody could be disgruntled as an employee. But if you sign an NDA, you're agreeing that you're going to get paid you're exchanging money for basically to keep certain trade things secret. And so you're not going to disparage your boss. And Jared made a bad business decision. And I mean, he was able to get $100,000. So, but I really want to know, how is he going to file a lawsuit against Crowder without breaching this privacy that he cares so much about? You can't have it both ways. You can't sue someone and not give discovery. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. You have to be open.
But discovery completely. Is the text messages. It's like download all your text messages with anybody that you talked about. So again, in my situation, I had any text that said Taylor Lorenz's name, any social media photo, any notes that I didn't even post publicly of mine, I had to share. And I was the plaintiff. I was suing Taylor. So in the same situation, both sides have to give all the text communications. And so Jared is unwilling in the lawsuit that Crowder was doing against him, or it's called like a something 202, where the judge said, yes, you have to give all the discovery. That's what Jared was crying about, saying, no, this is a breach of my privacy. I shouldn't have to give all this up.
Okay.
And he was crying about, and then in the next sentence, when he's asking for money, where he's going to sue Crowder, he says, he doesn't mention it, but if he sues, he has to give the discovery. So hopefully that makes sense.
Gosh. Okay. This seems like a lot. Gals, what are we thinking? What are we feeling?
I'm thinking Steven Crowder should have bought his wife a car. He should have bought her a goddamn vehicle.
With this video, the closed
you should share it.
It was the what was it? The freaking security footage of his wife being like, "Can I borrow the car?" And he'd be like, "No," but he's like a millionaire. So how could
The
he
other
not have
thing that
two
I think
cars?
the other thing that I think came out in the court documents, and I tried not to get too involved in like the divorce piece, but from what I understand, the judge also asked for Hillary Crowder to give up all the ring cam footage, like for the whole period of time or whatever. I don't know how long it was, and everything was deleted except for that part. So if you delete stuff in
Whoa.
the middle of a lawsuit, that's really bad, and you get in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
Wow.
they had everybody has crazy fights, but
True.
just should have bought her a car, man. She could have gone to the grocery store. She was pregnant
Yeah.
with twins. And the only other thing is, why were you not at the birth of the twins? Why were you not there? Little
Yeah.
And okay, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, don't talk about the divorce." It's like you are a public figure who goes on your show every day and talk about marriage and people should have kids and they should
Trad
live a life a certain
values.
way. Yeah, and you're talking about all this conservative stuff, and then behind the scenes, you're low key doing some strange behavior that could be looking a little gay. Okay, and you can't go on your show and be like, "Oh, gay is bad, transgender is bad," but you also look like you like to cross dress too, which is fine if you want to do that. But I'm just saying, we're allowed to talk about it. If you made your whole career and you made a shit ton of money, got a $50 million deal, talking about this shit, it is fair game. You put that out there, you talking about everybody else and made money, so we can talk about you.
True. When you are a public figure, it's just out there.
It's part of the game. It's just like you're like, as a comedian, I expect people can make fun of me. That's fine, because I make fun of people or I make fun of things. It's one thing if it's like if this is like I don't know. It's
Well,
just
see, what I don't think is right though is like
yes,
everybody can have their opinion about his ex-wife and how he treated her and how what he puts out in terms of, but what does Jared have to, you realize like Jared has nothing to do with that. Jared is a middle guy that's basically, in my opinion, taking advantage about the fact that people don't like Crowder because of what he did to his wife. But what did Jared do? I mean, literally, Jared has like not that many followers on Instagram.
Jared grifted hella good and made some money. Good for Jared. I applaud Jared. Can we get Jared on Simcast? Teach us some tricks. We did. Let's start a GoFundMe for the baby. We need money. We need $100,000.
And a lot of people like that were responding to me were like, well, it's so it got to the point where everybody was kind of like mad at me and they're like, oh, you're ugly. And I'm like, okay, I probably hit a nerve because people are realizing I'm right about just the Jared situation.
Oh my God, you're so hot. They're retarded.
No, I mean, I obviously didn't care.
People call all of us ugly every day.
But when like the personal insults come out that maybe you hit on a chord, right? Because I've never been. So I'm like, okay. And then finally people were like, well, you might be right, but Crowder deserved it. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess so. If somebody deserves it, then you can do all this shady stuff to cancel them, which like at the end of the day, that's fine. But Jared's still lying. Like Jared is still grifting. Yeah. And what sucks and what bothers me is that like it makes everybody else, he's assuming that everybody is so inexperienced with lawsuits, which by the way, most people are. And so was I before all this stuff went down. He's assuming that everybody's so dumb because they don't know about it, that he's just going to like manipulate you into thinking that, oh my God, this is legal abuse. But it's like, no, it's not. It's actually not
and
at all.
now Crowder is suing Jared, accusing him of engaging in an extortion scheme with Hilary. It says in this article here, Jared raised more than $72,000 in donations. It's probably more than that at this point. It's the claiming the scheme began in 2022 with Hilary planning to extort him for more money than the Texas law would allow in their pending divorce proceeding. That is a little sus, I think, when you become BFFs with your boss's wife. I don't know. According to court filings obtained by SCNR, Stephen has been ordered to pay Hilary $25,000 a month in support the last 2 years. However, a recent social media post seeking employment, she claimed she could no longer afford to be a stay-at-home mom. Let's go to this tweet of Hilary's. Bing, 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 bing. Let's pull it up. Here it is. Wow. And then this did spark a larger conversation online about the sort of risk rewards of being a stay-at-home mom. Why isn't this going up? Okay. Here we go. So this is from Hilary Crowder. She tweeted this out, on March 12th, just a couple weeks ago.
Kirby wants to go out.
Seeking opportunities, looking for work that is remote with flexibility. I'm open to anything, particularly work that will allow for me to be present at home with the twins. Thank you in advance to anyone that's willing to help me in this pursuit by sharing the post. I look forward to bringing my diligence, hard work, ethic, creativity, and ability to think outside the box into whatever work environment I end up in. I know I may get ripped apart in the comments, given that I am the mom of 2 small children. Please be respectful and know that the plan was for our children to have a stay-at-home mom, but unfortunately, I have been put in a position where that's no longer possible. She puts her LinkedIn. The email to reach me is hilarycrowder1@gmail.com if there are any suggestions or opportunities. And then there's mostly nice people being sending her things. But it has sparked a larger conversation about like,
well, here's what I'm
is
going
it
to
a
say
risk
too.
to be a stay-at-home mom?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Because I heard that there was like some bad takes. So some of my lawyer friends said that I think it was like Tim Pool was like criticizing the $25,000 a month or something, but I didn't listen to the whole thing again because like I just don't want to get super into the divorce part. But the lawyer said that Tim didn't really understand. Like a divorce lawyer, actually, like a family lawyer court said that Tim wasn't really understanding that correctly. And so, I mean, obviously in these situations, you're looking at the people commenting on this are like conservative media people, right? What I would say is if you're interested in the situation, go and like look at actual attorneys that are commenting on it, or you know what I'm saying? People that have a little bit more experience that can explain something in a more simple kind of way. My whole thing is just that there are attorneys in Hollywood that are cutthroat and they do really shady things and like leak stuff to the press and do all sorts of kind of stuff. And you have to figure that somebody like a conservative guy like Steven Crowder that everybody just found out is very valuable, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people, I'm sure that put a target on his back, and that may have been his own fault. He shouldn't have gone on and said, he should have dealt with that behind the scenes. You reap what you sow sometimes, right? But like at the same time, this is what I found to be very sus is that so initially when I first saw Jared's video and I was like, oh yeah, this Crowder guy's a dick and he's getting what he deserves. Because I had seen the whole Daily Wire interaction. Ashley St. Clair, who I'm friendly with on Twitter, and like, she waved at me at TPUSA. I was like trying to meet up. You were there. Like she walked by. Remember she walked by me and I was like, is she like normally like this? And I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe she's just like busy or whatever. I don't, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And
she dressed like Kim Possible at TPUSA.
I was wondering what was up with her outfit.
That was a Kim Possible outfit.
I was like, I thought she was going to Coachella. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I had bad style for like a while too. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, maybe she's going through a phase, but anyway, I always thought she was cool. And like, she has a big account on Twitter. So, and when she like interacts with you, sometimes it boosts you up. So it's nice to have friendly people like that. But anyway, so she hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to do a spaces tonight about this? And I was like, okay. And then, so she never hit me up about the spaces. And then I started seeing all that stuff and I kind of changed my mind. And then I literally pulled an all-nighter to do a new video about why I thought this was a grift. And before Crowder's side had put out anything. So I stayed up all night. I make sure that I'm really, I'm gonna, what's it called? this is the hill I'm going to die on for about this situation.
Yeah.
And I put out the video, and then that day I was going to do a space, and I didn't hear from Ashley. So then I sent her the so then I had posted a clip of Tim Pool's thing, and I just said, because it said he raised $80,000, and I said something about it. He's being a crybaby, and this is a grift, essentially. And Ashley commented on it and just said, "Sad take here." So I'm like, okay, maybe she doesn't like. Maybe she she obviously didn't watch my whole, because it's like a 30-minute video to really explain every little detail. So
I'm like, watch it.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's okay. So then I sent her a link to join a space of mine.
Nice.
That I'm doing on it, and she goes, why don't you add pearly things? And I'm like, oh,
right.
Okay, that was a little shade.
It was.
We love
and
Pearl.
I go, and I get it. Like, I happen to have the same point. I think what happened is Pearl saw that I'm a totally unbiased person, somebody that does not typically controversial. And she's like, oh, she has the same thing as me. I'm going to jump on and repost her, which fine. Like,
that's fantastic.
It is true that I have in this situation, I have the same point as her. But anyway, then I said, hey, Ashley, like, just like, if I'm getting this wrong, I really would like to know. Why don't you come on the space and just tell me like what your point of view is? I think if you hear mine, you'll understand that I'm coming from like, a very honest place here. And she's like, I'm not going to join your space with 20 people in it, because it was live and there was like 20 people in it. I was like, wow.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a million followers. And then at that point, my spicy Latina clicked in, and I'm like, okay, we are no longer friendly.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a thing that should divide anybody, and different points of view should be welcome. I think, like, to zoom out on it, it's a shame that that Crowder's personal stuff has become so public and so messy. And yeah, I think perhaps his public kind of turning down of $50 million did kind of make a lot of people go, oh, wow, we knew he made money, but we didn't know he was turning down $50 million kind of money.
And the other thing he did is he was shading the Daily Wire's contract, saying like, basically he insinuated like, I know what Brett Cooper makes, and you guys screwed her over on the deal. And that's not fair to say that, because Daily Wire came up with that show concept and they cast Brett Cooper. So for him to compare himself to Brett Cooper, who he already had a following, he already had memberships, all this stuff, to compare that to what Brett Cooper's contract was, it's not. He also was playing the game in a not so ethical way, I guess I would say. But at the same time, he did not sign an NDA with Daily Wire. So anyway, you can look at it any way. I just want people to understand. And there has been some civil discourse on it. Like, I put something out, and Lauren Southern said, is that her name?
Yes.
She was like, she responded and said like, I'm sorry about what happened to you. And she was like, it was respectful. Yeah. And I'm like, cool. I'm not here to like, I don't hate anybody. I just don't like when people try to take other people down, by, I mean, basically that's what the influencers did that I was managing. They were like, Ari's a bully. Yeah. Ari doesn't pay us. Ari leaked our nudes. And it's not right, because I didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. Dreams Lunatic says 50 million. I would have taken $50. Same dream.